I don't know. Hello, my zesty Cajun-style friends, and welcome to another edition of the Nintendo News Roundup. It's been a week. I'm feeling better. Still sound a little weird, but I feel a lot better. Got a little bit more energy today. Hopefully I won't say a whole bunch of stuff wrong like I did last time. It was a little weird. So let's get started. The news of the week was the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase for September. And if you are a fan of Japanese games, I would say that this was probably, I don't know, it's gotta be the best one so far, right? I mean, you got 2 Monster Hunter games, you got a Disgaea game, you got Rune Factory, that's on there. Like, I don't know, like, a lot of these are some pretty notable series. I would say, I mean, obviously, Monster Hunter Rise is the big highlight here. Monster Hunter games are pretty darn popular, and it was disappointing that World didn't come over to the Switch, but it seems that they were busy making a Switch exclusive game, which is super duper cool. Another highlight definitely is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I did not anticipate that would come to Switch. I kind of thought the original was, I don't know, enough to get people playing it and all that, and I also kind of thought the game would be like too pretty to run on the Switch. It looks a lot, I mean, like the first game is gorgeous, but it just looks a lot more technically advanced, but apparently they got it running on Switch fine, so that's very cool. So that was the partner showcase, though I would be remiss not to mention, seeing as I, reference Nintendo Life so much, there where I go for my news. I gotta mention, they recently had the Nintendo Life Indie Spotlight, the first one of those where it was just like, it was basically like an indie direct or whatever, with just tons and tons of indie announcements. So go check it out. They put it all together and worked with the developers themselves, and it's a really, really cool thing. So go see all the games they revealed. So last week we talked about Super Mario 3D All-Stars sales on Amazon, and that was just because of pre-orders. The game hadn't even come out yet. But now that it's out, obviously all the sales data is, it comes in slow. But in the UK at least, the game has had the 3rd biggest launch for the year. And as I said last time, there have been many high-profile game launches, Animal Crossing being one of them. And there it is, Super Mario 3D All-Stars at number 3. Boy, that FOMO sure does. Whoa, stop. Roberta! Come here, yeah, there you go. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna sit on Roberta. I'm just gonna stay on her for this. I got a couple stories in here. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit right here. You okay with that, girl? All right, good. And speaking of Mario and FOMO and limited time things, many customers are upset with Nintendo for providing so few of the Mario 35th anniversary pins that Nintendo was advertising. These pins are supposed to be available on the My Nintendo website, and a lot of people have you gotta jump through a whole bunch of hoops in order to get them, and a lot of people have done that, and they've even been promised the pins just to be told, oops, sorry, nope, there's actually no pins here. Which is, of course, a little absurd. I know, it's supposed to be an anniversary thing, and those are always by their nature limited, but sometimes Nintendo really takes it a little bit far with the whole, like, hey, we made 5 of these, everybody, I mean, and of course, like, they're already getting scalped. They're already turning up on eBay and stuff for heavily inflated prices. It may be petty to keep bringing it up, especially in a case like this with a limited pin, but it just seems that Nintendo does whatever they can to cultivate this kind of economy with their products. Pre-orders that don't work and scalpers and stuff, like, I don't know. It seems they like that stuff, because I don't know. What I tell you, I'm apparently just staying on Roberta really kind of gets me in a mood. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. An online Polish retailer has mentioned the words Switch Pro, naturally leading us to this rumor that we're talking about right here. It's not an item to purchase, but you can see the header, Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch Pro consoles. Does this mean anything? Probably not, because, I mean, that's too far of a stretch. It's not like a specific port or something. It's just it's such a vague idea. Like, we know Nintendo's not going to call it the Switch Pro. We already have the PlayStation 4 Pro. They're going to go with something else. So if the retailer knew about the thing, then it's probably just somebody trying to get the jump ahead of, like, rumors and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe it means something. Maybe the Switch Pro's coming out tomorrow, I don't know. And everyone will be like, whoa, that Polish retailer was right. Nintendo and the Pokemon folks have filed trademarks for Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, This probably means nothing, especially because it's for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This is probably just a renewal. They have to renew their trademarks every 10 years. However, I would say it's at the very least worth mentioning because of this next one. They have also filed a trademark for Entei, just the name Entei, which is, of course, the legendary fire Pokemon as introduced in Pokemon Gold and Silver. What is Entei? Is it a game called Entei? Is it Pokemon Let's Go Entei? You know, I mean, obviously we've had all of these Let's Go Johto rumors swirling around. Could this be related to that? Possibly, even if it is, the other the Gold Silver trademark might not be. They don't have to both be related. But I do like them legendary doggies, so I would love to see some sort of just Entei related thing. I don't know, like a memoir or something. Maybe he's starting a lifestyle vlog. Nintendo revealed that more than 26 million people have subscribed to Nintendo Switch Online. 26 million people. That's actually a very, very high percentage of the install base. Man, wow, like 26 million. Man, if you take 26 million and you multiply it by $20 per year, I can't, having a hard time doing the math. Roberta, will you help me with the math? You're good at math. Do the thing with where you stomp and it tells me the numbers. Oh, yeah, thank you. That's $500 million a year to run a service that doesn't work very well for a lot of people. I know some people have no trouble and it kind of goes game to game, but man, my experiences have only been super duper negative. It's a very bad service and I cannot believe they're making $500 million, maybe a little bit less because some people have family plans, but $500 million a year to run a service that terrible. I'll never stop. I will never stop complaining about it. Sorry. I won't talk about this too much because it's got its own video. I'm not sure if it's gonna come out before or after this one. But the 3DS has officially ended production. Nintendo is no longer manufacturing any 3DS consoles, thus officially marking the end of its life. However, some very good news at least, Nintendo has assured us that they have no plans to shut down the 3DS's online services. This is great because, as I said in my video, the 3DS has got a enormous library, and it would be a shame to see it all go. So, I mean, like, sometimes they'll give you an answer like, oh, I'm, at least for a while, right? Or like for a good few years. But like, no, I mean, they're pretty confident about it. They said the foreseeable future, it will be going. Like they have no plans to shut it down. They're not even thinking about it yet. So that's nice. According to a source, I guess, Netflix is planning content based on The Legend of Zelda starring Tom Holland. I am fairly skeptical about that, especially because, as some other people have pointed out, they've already cast Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. Not sure why they're sticking him in Zelda 2. However, weirder things have happened, and Nintendo, as we talked about before last week, they want to expand their shows and their movies and their visual content and whatnot. It could happen. It could happen. I really hope it doesn't happen. I don't want... That doesn't sound fun. Ring Fit Adventure is still topping the Japanese charts for the second week in a row. It has even outsold the juggernaut that is Animal Crossing. This is once again supporting my theory that this is just as fast as Nintendo can produce units. It's just limited to just that. And man, just keep it going. It's the little weird quality of life peripheral that could. Nintendo is looking to hire a new spokesperson for their company. They already have a lot of spokespeople. They're just people that just sort of build up media relations and just kind of work with the public and all that kind of stuff. I do have to say, I sounds like a pretty good job. I'm thinking about applying. I mean, let's see. This requires a formulation and execution of global public relations strategy. Please do that in my sleep before breakfast this morning. Building media relations. Hello, YouTube channel here. What does it say I need though? Person who has practical experience of corporate public relations and business company 3 years or more. I like talk to sponsors and ask companies for like review codes and stuff, so I think that counts. Those who have Japanese writing, okay, well. I took a class in college, basic Japanese. Does that count? Those who are interested in the video game entertainment, that's me. That's just describing me exactly. Anyway, I gotta move on. I was made for this role. Okay, so this next item, I wouldn't normally talk about stuff like this in the Nintendo News Roundup. It's not technically related, but it could potentially somehow in the future relate to Switch. And it's just such big news. I just really want to talk about it. Microsoft has purchased Bethesda. And of course, the way this relates to Nintendo, Bethesda has been really chummy with Nintendo, made a whole video about it. They've put a lot of titles on the Switch. And, you know, not only is this just a really, really massive, huge thing for the game industry, nobody knows yet exactly how this is going to affect exclusivity in the long run. You would think that eventually Xbox would want all of Bethesda's stuff to be Xbox exclusive, but they're not gonna, you know, anything that was planned to come out on stuff already, they're not going to stop that from happening. So what does this mean for Bethesda and Nintendo? Could it mean that a couple of years down the line, they go full exclusive and we just have no hope of getting any Bethesda games on Switch anymore or any Nintendo console? That would be pretty disappointing. Bethesda as a company has been making some really questionable decisions recently, but I mean, like, I want to play Skyrim. I'll probably just keep playing Skyrim. Or like the new Elder Scrolls or whatever, you know, just the handheld experience really just, it changed Skyrim for me. It was so good. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on, there's a very, very good chance that we will soon get a reveal for the next fighter in Smash Ultimate. Here we have a Smash advertisement in a Japanese 7-Eleven store. It shows Min Min and like all the other like blank spots, you know, suggesting that like something is coming, and this signage is due to be taken down October 4th. And apparently, I didn't know this until I read this, but like we've had these ads in Japanese 7-Elevens for a bunch of the other characters, and like all the timeline all lines up and they've all gone up and been taken down, you know, after the announcement or whatever. So it seems pretty darn legit to me. In fact, by the time you get this, there could be an announcement. Yeah, October 4th, that's not very long at all at the time of this recording. So far, they haven't done any like really out of the blue announcements, you know, just like uploading it to YouTube like they've been doing with all the trailers and stuff. So I don't know, it's possible that they'll announce a presentation for the reveal. I think that would be a lot of fun. So yeah, expect that pretty soon. Speaking of leaky advertisements, Nintendo has revealed Kirby Fighters 2, a follow-up to the 2014 3DS game. Only it doesn't look like they meant to reveal it. They just kind of put it on their website. Like they just uploaded it to the website, like the store page and everything, and like on the actual website. This isn't a retailer. This is this is Nintendo. So this is clearly a real thing, even though as of now, at least as of this recording, they still haven't revealed anything. It's just kind of there. Honestly, it's been more than 30 seconds, so I think we are due for another Kirby game. We saw so many on the 3DS, I'm actually a little bit surprised that we haven't seen more on the Switch. I've been like waiting for the next one. Not like waiting because I'm a big Kirby fan, just kind of anticipating the next one. Another lawsuit appears. A French consumer organization is suing Nintendo for JoyCon Switch drifty issues. I'm still not feeling 100%. Give me a break here. Specifically, they are suing Nintendo for planned obsolescence and anti-consumer practices. Oh, that stings. Anti-consumer practices is already pretty harsh. You know, I've said that myself. This is what they've been doing is very anti-consumer, but going for the planned obsolescence. Ooh, that's rough. That suggests that Nintendo wanted it to be this way all along, and they designed the Joy-Cons to just sap money out of people and fail just on purpose so we'd have to spend more money. That is what they are claiming Nintendo has done. I do not claim Nintendo has done that. I don't necessarily believe they're doing it maliciously, but this is the exact thing that I talked about in my video on the Joy-Con drift thing. Even if Nintendo isn't being malicious, to the general public, that's how it looks. And that was one of the reasons why it was so important for Nintendo to do something about it, instead of just apologizing and offering some territories free repairs if they knew to ask, even though they didn't publicly advertise it. No, they needed to fix the problem. I don't know what the problem is. I'm not saying it would be an easy or cheap fix, but they needed to do it because it's damaging their reputation. Look at this. This kind of stuff gets out. Planned obsolescence and anti-consumer practices. It's rough, man. And get this, in a part of the statement, while Nintendo was informed of this malfunction, the Japanese giant chose not to modify the components subject to this failure. The nature of the failure, its frequency of occurrence with players, the limited lifespan of these products, and the inertia of the manufacturer, however informed of the malfunction, these are all characteristics that indicate that Nintendo is engaged in practices of planned obsolescence. And you know what? I can't fault it. Like I said, I don't personally believe that that's what they did, like, from the start on purpose. But I can't argue that that's how it looks. Like, that, nothing they said is untrue. So anyway, that's interesting. It's another one of those things. We'll see, like, what happens. But if anything will happen from this, I don't really know. But it's good. Good girl. She's been real patient with me today. Roberta's my high horse, by the way. I feel the need to just remind you every single time in case there are people who haven't seen a roundup before and they're getting really confused. The Game Awards, unsurprisingly, will be happening this year on December 10th. Of course, it will be a streamed event without a live audience. Did that come out weird? Without a live audience? Jeff Keighley, who runs the event, seems pretty darn confident that there are going to be some pretty cool announcements. Historically, there are many announcements at the Game Awards. It's usually like a little E3, like tons of reveals and stuff, and it's a whole lot of fun. And I know a lot of people make fun of me for it and think it's just a big corporate show, but you know what? I think it's great, and I think that there's a lot of just genuine goodness to it, and I believe in Jeff Keighley and his passion for the industry, so there. Anyway, though, the show has something of a history of having, like, Nintendo will be at the show, and they'll either show, like, the most mind-blowing giant thing, like a bunch of games, or, like, the first Breath of the Wild gameplay, or nothing. or like something really, really small, or just literally nothing. And so it's a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get with the Game Awards when it comes to Nintendo. So I always tune in. So there it is. It'll be December 10th. So thank you guys for bearing with me. As I said, I'm not at 100% yet. It's been feeling pretty crummy this week, but I'm getting better and it's fine, and it's a whole thing. Oh, and I lost my studio. My friends had to sell their house, so I lost my studio, and so now I'm in the spare room again, and it's all filled with stuff, and that might be why my audio sounds a little bit weird to me, but every time I say that, everyone's like, no, it sounds fine, what are you talking about? So anyway, I should probably stop talking because it's the end of the video, and I love you, goodbye! Alright, good job, girl. You did real good today. Here's an apple. There you go. Go graze in the field. Good horse.